Batgirl number 0, written by Gail Simone, art by Ed Bennis. This is just Origin of Batgirl, straight and simple. So we open up 4 years ago with Barbara Gordon. She's laying in bed cutting out newspaper clippings of how her father was so successful as a cop and how she just admires him, how he's always her hero. And then we see all the things she does. She does ballet, she does like self-defense, and we gather that people always say that she's intense. She's very, very focused and very driven to an almost scary extent. And she reaches out to her dad saying like, hey, I'm taking this criminology course. I really want to put a mark on it. Maybe you could have somebody give me a tour around GCPD. And he's like, yeah, sure. Also, we're going to bring your brother along because James Gordon Jr. is here. So she grabs a random cop named Officer Dwight and just tells him, hey, just guide my daughter around, walk her through the process, show her how we do things. So Officer Dwight takes the pair of them around, and immediately James Gordon Jr. is like, you're up to something, aren't you? And he's like, maybe. I don't know. You gonna rat? And he's like, no, I don't talk to anybody. So make their way through, and they look at like, oh, this is how we file paperwork, and this is the blue folders mean that this is done on a Tuesday. And she's like, yeah, okay, I don't actually care about any of this. There's actually a real reason I'm here. And they make their way past a office where basically the police are putting together a profile for Batman. And they manage to figure out, like, okay, here's the deal. We've got plenty of unconfirmed sightings. We don't have a lot of info as to like who he is, what he's doing, but we do think that he is just a guy with a lot of tech, and he's not like anything super special. And Barbara's just looking in on this, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's fantastic! Like, yeah, Batman is super cool to me, and he's just a guy. He's just smart like me. I couldn't do this. I could do that same thing." So super happy about that. But before she has that much time to revel in it, this big guy comes in. His name is Harry X. They make special point that he's Canadian. Okay. And he's just this brute who apparently killed like a lot of people by breaking their necks. And he steps up and talks to Barbara and says like, well, hey there, I can see you. I know what you are. And it's just like, okay. And he's like, oh, I mean, like, yeah. And also James Gordon Jr. has a lot of issues as well. I can see that as well. It's like, all right, well, whatever. Do you want something, mister? And it's just like, oh, yeah, sorry. Here's the thing. You just need training, and maybe I'll come for you one day, and you can work under me. It's just like, yeah, okay, sure. But before he can make his way back into the cell, explosion happens, and it's this breakout attempt to get Harry X out by his cult of seemingly all-female like East European people. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. This came out of nowhere, and they really don't even ever cover it again. It's just a breakout attempt. So Barbara and James Gordon Jr. go and hide. I'm just going to call him Junior from now on. And Junior is like, he doesn't even care. He's just like, yeah, I'm not that scared. This is whatever. Just full sociopath. But Barbara's like, okay, I can figure it out. I can figure out what to do here. So they make their way back to a stairwell where there's only one entrance that Harry X can come from. She throws a chair at him when he opens up the door. Junior runs away so that Barbara's able to like barricade and manage to move farther away. And before she can really get anywhere, Harry X catches up, lays some hurt on her, and we see that Officer Dwight, he's like, Miss Gordon, get down, tackles Harry. And Harry's like, hey, I'm going to kill this cop, and it's all your fault because you ran away from me. And he straight up does. Like, I'm not sure if he 100% actually gets there, but he's gurgling on his own blood. So at that point, Barbara's like, okay, I got to do something. Let me figure this out. And she sees the makeshift bat costume that the GCPD has put together. And we see outside Jim is there, and he's like, oh, my girl's in there. You got to help me. Let me in. He's like, no, Commissioner, it's too dangerous. So then we see inside, Barbara's put on the bat costume and is confident enough to overcome Harry, manages to lay some hurt down on him. And as he goes down, Batman shows up, and he's like, hey, did you do this? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, wow, good work. Also, you saved the officer. So I guess Dwight is alive. And so he just walks off and makes sure that Officer Dwight gets help. And make sure that Harry is fully restrained. And she puts away the costume and meets back up with Junior, and Junior's like, well, that was interesting. So then we just get a flash montage for the next year of her life. She continued doing Batgirl stuff. She got her own outfit. She did end up working with Batman. And that went on for a full year, and she enjoyed every moment of it. But then at a certain point, she was like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should do something else with my life. And apparently she did mess up at some point, but she doesn't get too into it. So she takes off the cape and cowl. She gets into college. She even finds somebody that she's interested in romantically. And she's like, yeah, no, I made something in my life, and I was able to actually get out of it. Until that one fateful night. There's a knock at the door, and the Joker's there. And then she gets shot, but they don't show that part. So yeah, that's Barbara's origin. I don't know. I don't dislike it. I don't dislike the fact that she was interested in Batman and she had a chance to prove herself, and then Batman noticed. I don't dislike any of that. That was fine. It was just weird to me, this whole like Harry X thing. Like, they put a lot of emphasis on like, no, he's like a cult leader and he also murders all these women and we just caught him, and it's like, I don't know, there was a lot going on there. It wasn't awful, but there was a lot. It felt like a bit too much in terms of showing the first interaction with Batman. Like, they had to justify it. So overall, it is still good. I would go ahead and give it a 7. It's not blowing me away, of course, but it is still a decent origin to Barbara Gordon's Batgirl. And honestly, I feel like the last 2-3 pages of just the montage of saying like, and I did amazing things, was more interesting than most of the first half of the issue there. So take of that what you will, but I give it a 7.